Do you feel neglected and unsupported in your marriage? Like, do you feel guilty when you start to make the decision of focusing on you? Like, just taking care of you, just going out for a night with friends, like taking care of yourself, being unplugged from the kids or the family. Like, do you feel that you're at a place where you completely don't have any support from your spouse? You might be at the place where you're working and you're confident in your job, and you're confident in your education, you're confident in all the things that have progressed and moved you forward, but you feel completely lost in the relationships. You feel at the place that you're made to feel completely stupid. And you're like, how does it even make sense? I can run a company, I can work a job, I can be in this place where people respect me for who I am and what I can accomplish. But when I come home at night and I'm trying to take care of the kids, I'm trying to take care of the house, I'm trying to take care of like everything that's going on, just life in general, I'm made to feel like I'm an idiot. What's actually going on here? We want to talk about this aspect of narcissistic emotional abuse, and we'll look at it in a couple different ways and a couple different pieces, but understanding what it actually is and the impact it has on you, the stuff that's actually going on. If you guys are new here, the reason why I understand this stuff is because I'm a narcissist. I'm a person that has done these things to people, and as a result, I try to bring awareness to people now so they don't get with someone like me, so they're able to get free. And we work with people every single day to help them rewire their mindset so they can understand the truth and break free from toxicity. If you haven't had a chance, check out escapetoxicity.com for a 7-day challenge to start you progressing forward in your healing journey, moving forward to who you are meant to be. And if you're new here, subscribe, hit the notification, like it, share it, because we want to help more people understand about narcissism. So in looking at this, I want to identify a little bit of aspect of emotional abuse, like what it feels like, help you see a way out, and then just how we can help partner moving forward. Because you've gotten to this place where you've been in this marriage for 5, 10, 15 years, and it feels very one-sided. Like it feels like it is only you. Like so oftentimes people talk about being in a relationship with a narcissist that it's single parenting with an extra child. Like it's someone else that's there in the relationship, but they're not contributing. They're not actually helping. They're not actually moving forward to help you emotionally, mentally, like spiritually, like anything like that in the relationship and in the parenting. But instead it feels like it's just one-sided. Sometimes this is an aspect where he provides, but it's just enough. Like it's just enough to be able to provide for the house or for the bills. Or it's just enough that he's only providing for his half and then you have to pay your half, but you have to work as well. Like there's all these different pieces that come into it and you're like, wait a second, like I'm putting a lot of effort into this marriage and you're not putting any effort. And then you have the toxic idea of like, well, I come home, like I provide, like I give you a paycheck. And a lot of men think that that's enough. A lot of men don't realize that they could be replaced very easily by an online business or a trained monkey when all they think that marriage is just walking in the door and providing. And as a result, you end up being scrambling, trying to figure out how do I even make ends meet? How do I even make this work? And it's not even as much the idea that like you are working because the other person, your husband or spouse is not making enough money. It's more along the lines of like whatever money they're making, you're not seeing it. But instead that's their money and you have to focus on you. You have to focus on you and taking care of the kids and paying for them and all this kind of stuff. And that's why you're working, because you can't afford to not work based on his money habits, his money spending. And it doesn't feel like it's a relationship. It doesn't feel like it's a marriage. It feels like you're a single parent and you've got an extra person that just comes in every once in a while. It feels like you're roommates. And you're really confused of like, wait a second, I thought this was going to be different. I thought this was going to be better. And sometimes you start to question and doubt your reality of who you actually are, of what's happening, because you're in a place where you excel at your job. You do a great job at the job, the vocation, the business that you run. But when you come home, you're put down. You're meant to feel stupid and degraded. And it's like, wait a second, like what did I even do? Like I work with all these people and they say I'm really good at what I do. I'm really helpful. I'm really loving. I'm really kind. Then I come home and I'm told I'm not any of these things. Like what's actually going on? And it feels like you've got the full brunt of every single thing in the relationship. No support, no help, and it doesn't seem like the other person even cares. You might have seen this with the kids. You might have seen this in the fact that he vanished. Like first couple of years of having the kids, there was like no interaction, no help, no support. This was something that I did in the relationship. Like when we first had our daughter, I was very disengaged, was not there because I was cheating, I was checked out, and I didn't care. And as a result, I was not involved in her life very early on, and definitely was not involved in supporting my wife along the way. Did that happen to you? Because a lot of times we see that. You might be at the place where you even suspect there's been cheating. You suspect there's something going on. You've caught shady messages that have been gaslighted away, that have been explained away to be like, no, that's not what you think. And you start to wonder, is there something there? Because the disconnect between the two of you seems to be growing every single day. And you're left wondering, wait a second, what is actually happening? Is this actually a relationship? Is this a marriage? Or is this just a roommate? What is actually going on? Well, what happens is you get pushed down time and time again, degraded, made to feel like you're insignificant. And we start to see you get broken down with your self-esteem, with your self-confidence, with your self-worth, and you no longer feel like you know who you are anymore. Forget the concept of intimacy or connection, because that was long gone after the first year. And anything after that, it seems like it's these tiny breadcrumbs. Like you get to the place where you haven't had any affection by any means, then all of a sudden you get a smile or you get a hug and you're like, oh my gosh, this person actually loves me. And it's done to be able to get you to the place that you don't leave, or that you don't produce too much problems or inconvenience for the narcissist, but instead like, wow, they actually care about me, when they don't. They're just giving you a tiny little glimpse of what actually could be that locks you in for a little bit longer. That locks you in a little bit more than just walking out the door when you realize it's a toxic relationship. And then you get to the place where you try to take time for you. You try to say like, hey, I want to focus on something. I want to be able to work on something. I want to be able to connect with someone else. I want to be able to just have some friends. And all of a sudden it seems like you're always in conflict with his schedule. You're always in conflict with his plans. It doesn't seem like it's even possible for you to do the things that you want to do. And sometimes even sitting down thinking, what would I want to do? You don't even have a clue of what you'd want to do, because you've been taken down to such a deep level that you no longer know who you are. You no longer know what works for you. You no longer have the ideas, the hobbies, the dreams of what could actually be possible. And you end up being lost in who you are and responsible for his emotions. My wife and I recently did a podcast talking about like feeling responsible for another person's emotions, and it happens so much in narcissistic abuse and narcissistic relationships where they project that onto you. And so you feel like you have to take care of their emotions. That you have to be responsible for the things that they did or the things that they said. And so getting to the place of understanding like, hey, I'm not responsible for those person's emotions, for that person, what he did. I'm not responsible for that emotion. But it's going to feel like that. It's going to feel like you've been put down. It's going to feel like it's put back on you time and time again. And you end up feeling lost, not knowing who you are. A lot of times that identity of who you are and the person you're meant to be is disappeared. If you're struggling with that, I want you to visit escapetoxicity.com. To start your healing and to move forward in that direction of who are you. How are you actually going to find that? And let's walk you down that process. Because you have to understand, when you're in a toxic, an emotional, a narcissistic, an abusive relationship, breaking free will feel impossible. It will feel like there is no possibility for you to get free, especially because you have kids, especially because you're working a full-time job, especially because, and you can make up all these lists of excuses. And you'll think, this is impossible for me to get free, but it's not. Because we see people that get free every single day. When they do the work, when they walk through the system, when they change their mindset, when they rewire who they actually are versus what the narcissist has placed upon you. Many have come before you that have been free and are walking free each and every day, being healed, happy, healthy, and whole. And you can find that truth. You can find that clarity. I want you to understand that everything that you've gone through, you're not crazy. You're not alone, and you're not hopeless. Those are 3 phrases a lot of times we talk to people about just to help them understand where they are right now. That we have communities that have gone through the same exact thing, a lot of times less and a lot of times more. We're not comparing, we're just saying people have walked the same road as you. They understand your pain. And they're there willing to help you move forward and to get free mentally, emotionally, physically, whatever it needs to be done to help you get to the place that you know who you are. And you know your direction, your purpose in life, and that's not with the toxic person that's been beating you down the entire time. And so getting to this place of understanding that you can find the truth, you can find clarity, you can move forward in your healing and in your development. I invite you to go to escapetoxicity.com today. It houses our 7-day challenge to healing that we start to work through systematically the hard truths that you need to heal, that you need to hear. The aspect of narcissism, how that actually applies. Are you a narcissist? Because they've told you about that. What does reactive abuse look like? How do we actually start to break the trauma bond? What do we need to step through to be able to get free? Because until you get free mentally and emotionally, you'll never get free, even if you're away from the narcissist. What I tell people a lot of times is it's not time, and it's not distance, and it's not knowledge. I've seen people with all three of those and still not be free. They still are ruminating. They still are thinking about that person. They still are going back to that person. But instead, it's how we rewire the story that's in our mind to be able to get free. So check it out. Go to escapetoxicity.com today to start your journey.